Hi guys, it's me, Katie. So it seems like our quarantine is coming to an end, and I'm really excited about that because I really miss my friends. I miss all kinds of people. I miss gatherings. Still trying to stay focused on what's important, but still, just the idea that we can all gather is really making me excited. So I'm getting some plants together because we're due to have a plant exchange, an annual plant exchange. For more information on that, please go to the Facebook page, the Clinton County Plant Exchange. That's where you can find all the information on that. So I've been getting ready to maybe sell some of my cuttings and some of my plants to other locals who are just as into plants as I am. And my propagation station is absolutely cluttered, and it needs to be decluttered. I have all kinds of things that need to go in soil, and I'm also going to do some other various plant duties that need to be done. So first things first, this is my Monstera adansonii wide form. And maybe about a month ago, I went ahead to our local plant store, Cook and Gardener, and I bought a moss pole. And I've heard a lot of rumors, you know, oh, moss poles are great. They love to climb on moss poles. And I was not a believer. I was like, it's ugly. I don't want it. But I went ahead and I bought it because I do love this plant. And oh my goodness, she loves it. Her roots are literally searing to this moss pole, and it is causing her to become very, very strong. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place another moss pole on a different climbing plant, because if moss poles can make a plant like this even cooler, then there's no reason at all why I shouldn't put them on there, right? So this is a little one, if you can imagine how big they get. And I'm not entirely sure if I can, you know, use it after the plant gets so tall, but I'm going to put it on my tetrasperma, because the tetrasperma is also a climber. They also call this a mini monstera. You can tell when a plant wants to climb when these aerial roots are starting to poke out of the side. It's trying to find something to climb on. So I'm going to make that possible. I have soaked this in water. Hopefully this pot is deep enough. There you go. You're going to stick that right in the soil. It might be a little wobbly. This pot's a little bit small. Comes with pins, and you're just going to go ahead and pick up the plant. And those aerial roots are going to want to go right into that moss. And they love the moisture of it. May take it a little while to really grow into it, but my basic at-home studies show that these guys just love the moss poles. But I do have some questions about the moss pole. I'm not entirely sure like how you're supposed to get it wet after it's put up. It seems really silly. But I've been like trying to figure that out, and I'm like, oh God, like what do I do? So I've just been spraying the moss pretty much daily, all down into the moss, just to keep it moist. Oh yeah, your tetraspermas will love this, your Monstera deliciosas will love it, your Monstera adansonii will love it. Anything, I mean even a pothos, like any of your pothos, anything that vines down, trails down, oftentimes wants to climb up onto a tree. And so that's basically what this is doing, is it's trying to make it tree-like so that the plant can grow vertical. This guy is a lovely plant. He's been such a generous giver and such a generous grower. I think it's time to reward him with a little bit of a moss pole. So I have a feeling that he will thank me. Awesome. Yeah, the pins kind of come out a little bit. There we go. So I'm going to start to move some of my cuttings into pots. It's about that time, I think, for them. And I'll show you a little bit about what I look for to make sure that it's ready. So this is a green Maranta, and I cut this maybe about a month ago. As you can see, its roots are huge, and you can probably cut or grow, you can probably pot that at a little bit of an earlier stage, but nothing hurts it staying in water a little bit longer. So if you look close, I cut this off the mother plant, and I cut it right at a node. That's where two leaves meet. And you can tell it's a bit of a node because sometimes the roots come out of the node before you even cut it. Just like I showed you on the tetrasperma, how those roots were coming out. Those are all nodes. You cannot, the majority of the time, you cannot just propagate a leaf cutting. You need a node right there. That's where all the roots come out. And this green Maranta, I started this mother plant from a cutting, and oh my gosh, she's right here. I mean, the growth, she loves to share. I mean, she is just such a giving plant. She gives and gives and gives and makes new growth and is always willing to be cut. I'm really, really proud of this plant. Anyone who wants a green Maranta knows where to find them. Come right to me, because Mama Plant is really, really friendly. Hopefully that'll find a really nice home. Undoubtedly, this cutting will one day be as big as this guy. So I'll show you again a node just for beginner houseplant collectors. The majority of people who collect houseplants or trade cuttings know already what to look for. I'm going to want to cut here or here. I can also cut here. You're looking for that V. On this specific plant, you're looking for that V. I'm going to cut right here. This looks like a nice cutting. So this only has one leaf, but it will still root because it has that V or Y. Not a very big cutting, but a cutting nevertheless. And it's gonna, the roots are gonna come right from there. I always propagate in water. I do not understand how people can get their plants to root in soil. I have never been able to do that. The same kind of propagation technique can be said with a philodendron. In this case, you'll find the nodes right there. That's a node. Sometimes there will be another leaf coming off here to make that Y. And then here's another node right there. You can always tell because there are sometimes these little bumps and the roots can come out of that. This guy, he's probably okay to pot, but a philodendron is not as easy to propagate as this. So this guy may or may not take. But because our plant exchange is coming up so soon, I'm going to go ahead and stick him in soil so that he can become established. Get used to his soil, get used to being in soil, so that the day before the exchange I don't stick it in soil and give someone a dead plant. This is a very pretty plant. Also a nice grower, but not as forgiving, not as friendly of a plant. I have not had a lot of success propagating a philodendron Brazil. It's always a little bit better to buy an established one of these from like a local nursery, because they really just have a little bit of a hard time like making new growth from a cutting. But this is a nice little plant. I hope somebody takes it. So then you have these like Tradescantia like things. Some people call them wandering Jew plants. This is not a wandering Jew, I don't believe. I mean, I know it's not a wandering Jew, but I don't know if it's a Tradescantia or not. It certainly looks a lot like it, but it's definitely a different plant. And something like this, you'll just go ahead and cut. Let's cut right here. And then I'm going to remove this leaf because this will do nothing but rot and ruin the water. And there's your node. Without roots, you can sort of see that there's like a rib, and that's where those roots are going to pop out of. And you'll propagate that right in water. Just like that. Take maybe a month. In the case of sansevieras, or snake plants, you'll take a piece of the top. You'll just go ahead and cut it off, and it will propagate right from that piece, which is insanity. I didn't know it would happen, but here is proof. It actually happens. And like they say, you can do it in soil, you can do it in water, but I don't trust propagating anything in soil. So I think it's really cool that a plant can propagate just from a piece just like that. Maybe one day that'll grow big, like a big mall snake plant. Oh my goodness, I feel a little bit better that things are empty in here. I'll just stick this Joseph's coat right here into soil. You'll see all those roots coming out of all those nodes. And make sure I haven't watered them yet, but you should water your soil as soon as you take them out of water, because they're used to being moist, and if the soil gets too dry, it will definitely go into shock. Oh my goodness, thank you guys so much. I'm glad I got to do a little bit of plant work. I'm glad that I did it in front of the camera, and I can't wait to see you guys next week. Clinton County Second Annual Plant Exchange and Sale. Come! Bye-bye.